All right, so my name is Robert Barbeau. I'm the Executive Director of Construction Operations for Creek Construction. A little background on the company. We've been around since 1976. We had humble beginnings. We started as a company that did slashing. We went into the residential area, and now we do construction contracts in all fields of the construction industry, including residential, commercial, industrial, and the heavy civil projects. All right, so you'll see my presentation is a lot shorter than Alain's presentation, but I'm hoping it'll give you an insight on the task of preparing an estimate for a construction project. All right, so the different steps we'll be looking at today. One will be the research for the tender, purchasing the documents, estimating the project, bid submission, and the opening of the tender by the customer for selection of the contractor that will obtain the contract. All right, so the first step in getting a tender, just for those who are not familiar, it's a document that a client will put out there, make it available for all interested parties that want to submit a bid. So they'll be able to, and everybody will have the same information on what the contract consists of. So the different ways that clients will put the information out there saying that they're looking for companies to bid or provide services will be through the local newspapers, on the web via specialized sites. There's two here that are cited, SEAO and MERX. These sites are specialized in all types of contracts. Like MERX, all the government contracts normally will be advertised on MERX. So if you're interested in finding out what contracts the government is giving out, they don't just do the government, but most of the government contracts do through there. You would go on the MERX website, you have to register for it. And then you, every day, like in our company, we have people that go to these sites every day and they look what projects are coming up in our region, which is northern Quebec. And then we select which ones we'd be interested in doing. Other customers will have their own site, like the MTQ, Hydro-Quebec, and some other ones. And the fourth way of getting companies to bid on their projects is by invitation. The fourth option that the client has, sometimes they'll want to benefit a certain region. So they will invite only regional companies, and the invitation will be sent, let's say, to our estimation department asking us, would Creek Construction be interested in providing a bid on this project? So if the answer is yes, then they give us indication. You will go retrieve the documents on this website, or we'll send them to you. So the second step, once you've identified a project that you're interested in, it's the actual act of purchasing the documents and having them delivered. So accompanying the tender, a procedure for document retrieval is described, and the amount to pay to obtain the documents will also be indicated. This part here, because the clients don't want to be sending out hundreds and hundreds of copies of these files, they will ask you to pay like $100, sometimes $250, for the right to look at the documents. Now, that $250 is not refundable. And even if you decide, once you have the documents in front of you saying, whoa, this is not what I want to do, this is too big or whatever, it helps them cover for their costs for the printing of the documents and whatnot. So the contractor will have to retrieve these documents in order to submit a bid. All right, the third step is the actual estimating of the project. It is the most important step and certainly the longest process in the whole estimation of a bid. This step is performed by an appraiser fancy name for an estimator, whose job it is to analyze the documents, including everything from calculating the quantities, estimating the time, the equipment, the materials needed at each stage of the project. And his job is to develop a final price, including the constraints, administration, and profits contemplated. One of the, it's not listed here, but a very important part of an estimator's job is to calculate your risks and add amounts to compensate for those risks. All right, the fourth step in the bid submission. The bids, this is very particular, and people have to pay attention to the date of deposit. So the bids must be submitted on the date and at the place determined by the owner or his representative. The information contained in the tender documents. I forgot to mention here that there's also in the bid documents that will be indicated by the client in what form they want it. It could be through email, but sometimes they'll want it delivered, hand-delivered in a sealed envelope at a certain place. Just to give you an example of what doing business across James Bay means for us. Sometimes the documents have to be delivered here to Val-d'Or, so we'll have to get somebody pick up our documents at the airport and hand deliver them to the client here. Sometimes it's an engineering firm that receives them for the client. That's a very important aspect, because if you send it in by email and it was requested in paper form, well, your bid will not even be considered. It will be rejected. Time is another very important factor in submitting a bid. The general rule is that your bid has to be, let's say the closing hour is Thursday at 3 p.m. If you deposit your bid after 3:01 p.m., 1 minute past the hour of 3 o'clock, it can cause a non-receipt and probably the rejection of your bid. The reason being for that is that the other bidders in the other company's bidding can use that and say, this guy was in non-conformity, he didn't respect the rules, so you have to reject or ignore his bid.